mom took her vehicle and accelerated towards the water. She put her family and herself in danger.
I need a wellness check.
She thinks there's demons in the house?
Yeah.
The two in the back seat was crying with their arms out saying, "Our mommy's trying to kill us, please help."
3 counts of attempted first-degree murder. You also charged with 3 counts of child abuse.
Are they saying help?
Just a few days ago, a judge reduced Ebony Wilkerson's bond from a whopping $1.2 million down to just 90 grand after Ebony gave birth to a baby boy behind bars. Then she told the judge she was, quote, feeling normal again.
I feel like I'm back to my normal self, and I'm feeling like my old self, like old Ebony. Yes.
Normal? Really? Just 3 months ago, this woman was hearing demons and hallucinating. That kind of mental illness, in my humble opinion, doesn't just disappear overnight. And Ebony's own sister dialed 911 at that time, telling cops her sister was acting crazy. And that was just hours before this troubled mother drove a minivan full of her own children into the Atlantic.
I don't understand why you need a well-being check.
Because she's like having psychosis or something.
Like, what is she doing?
She's talking about Jesus and that there's demons in my house and that I'm trying to control her, but I'm trying to keep them safe.
She thinks there's demons in the house?
Yeah.
Ebony's sister was worried the mother was having postpartum psychosis when she tried to kill her oldest 3 children. And she just gave birth a few weeks ago. Again, is Ebony a loaded cannon? I want to hear from you at home. Please call me, 1-877-JVM says, 1-877-586-7297. Our Lion's Den fired up and ready to debate. Got to start with Joe Gomez, reporter KRLD. You have covered this. The notion that Ebony, who drove her kids into the ocean and literally fought off people who were trying to save them, thank God they did, that she suddenly, oh, I'm fine, now I can go. Isn't that crazy in itself?
It is bizarre, Jane. You'll recall when this first happened, this incident first came out, it made international news. That video went viral of her doing a belly flop out of the minivan when she drove into the rough surf on Daytona Beach with her kids inside. Now she's been bailed out of jail. Her bond reduced from $1.5 million to $90,000. We presume that the father of the child that she had while she was behind bars was the one that helped bail her out of jail. Now, if she did indeed suffer from postpartum depression, if that played a role, Jane, there is concern out there for the child that she just had, because we understand that child was in the custody of its father, which was the guy that bailed her out of jail. So hopefully that kid is staying with, family members that are going to be away from this woman. If she is, going to be staying with this man, there's also concern for the other kids that were involved who were clearly traumatized by the whole incident, though we understand that they're staying with a foster family at this point, Jane.
Well, Wendy Murphy, this entire thing is crazy. First of all, the idea that she thinks she's okay. When you're insane, you think you're okay. Okay, that's part of the insanity. And then, remember, when she originally drove her kids into the ocean, she claimed that she was fleeing the husband, the very one who now has custody of the infant child.
Yeah, and it turns out while she's talking to the devil and fleeing her husband, half of her story was actually correct. I'm sure there was no devil in the van, but the husband was a monster. And what kind of a country is this where, we who wonder about the well-being of the children are forced to choose between the father, who's apparently a molester, who the court has already said isn't a good enough or fit enough father to be with the children already born, but somehow he's fit enough to be with the newborn, who he has custody of because the mother tried to kill all of them while she's giving birth to kids she clearly can't handle. That's the craziness of this story, that we're choosing between crappy and crappier.
Well, let me say this. We don't know. This woman absolutely has no credibility with me, and I absolutely do not doubt that she may have lied through her teeth about why she was driving her kids into the ocean and what she was doing, because remember, she went from one state to another with these kids before she drove them into the ocean. So I certainly don't want to convict the father We talked to his attorney. He said he had really no comment at this time, and we invited that father on the show, and he declined. So the person who's the bad guy, in essence, here is Ebony. Ebony's 3 older kids are now in the care of the state.
Jane, I disagree.
Go ahead.
Jane, this is Dr. Wendy. I'm telling you, this woman clearly showed signs of postpartum psychosis and pregnancy psychosis. Having so many children so close together can make your hormones really drive you crazy. And it's a very small portion of the population that have these extreme kinds of symptomology, but it is very possible that after giving birth that her hormones would have calmed down a bit and she would be more stable. She's also probably medicated. This isn't a criminal. This is a mentally ill woman who needs our help and support, and we need to circle the wagons around her entire family.
Wendy Walsh, do you know that she was involved in a deadly car accident 7 years ago? And that there is a man who doesn't have a wife and a little baby who doesn't have a mother because she made an improper lane change?
And Jane,
this woman has been involved in a deadly incident before. Go ahead.
Jane, imagine. Let's go with some truth to that. Let's say that even has some merit, that you would say you have compassion for her and that she's mentally ill. Then why are we allowing her out where she could clearly have access to not only the 3 children that she tried to kill, but the one that she
doesn't have access to her children.
Well, no, they say
she
that
doesn't have access.
No,
and how do you know that she's not getting mental health treatment?
She only has
what's the harm
one
in
at a time.
What's
One
the
at a
harm
time.
in the judge?
Go ahead.
What's the harm, Jane, in the judge evaluating her a little bit longer? And that's the problem I have. You know, Jane, normally when I'm on your show, I'm defending people all the time. But I have to say that I don't necessarily agree with the judge's decision in this case. It's just way too soon. 3 months, and all of a sudden she's saying that she's okay. Exactly. What's the harm in evaluating her a little bit longer as opposed to drastically reducing the bail? $90,000 bail for these types of crimes is very low, in my opinion. And that's very unheard of.
Also, why not just give more time for her to recover, where this is a very short time that she's been in jail? Give it more time to make sure that she is correctly rehabilitated.
Oh, yeah,
and then
jail is a great place to recover.
Listen, well, better than her having access to killing her children, trying to kill her children again.
Well, let me set the
and then she
stage
gets
here, because
24/7
Ebony's
supervision.
3 older children are now in the care of the state. I want to make that clear. But as we've been talking about, she gave birth while in jail to a little boy. That baby is living with her husband, the very same husband that Ebony and her sister had claimed was abusive.